Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a deck list modification. And this is a series that I'm going to do pretty regularly with the theme decks. Something that I'm trying out, and it's more geared towards newer players that have just gotten a theme deck and don't really know what to do with it. So in the following video, I'm going to show you the Zacian theme deck and how to make it better on a budget and how to maybe soup it up if you have access to a few more cards and more resources. So enjoy this video, guys. This is something that is new to the channel, and please make sure to leave a comment down below if you want to see more stuff like this in the future. That really helps me know that you are enjoying this content. Please let me know what you think and enjoy the video. So we have the Zacian theme deck here on the screen, and this is a fine theme deck. I mean, I think Pokemon did a lot of nice things here with this deck, and there's like reason to purchase this product, especially if you're a newer player. You get some Metal Saucers, you get some Professor's Research, and overall the deck is just decently well constructed for these types of sealed theme decks. But that doesn't mean that there's not room for growth, and especially if you're going to take this and you're a new player and you want to take this online, you're probably going to find out very quickly that this deck can't quite handle the online game. Now you can play theme just fine, but as soon as you start getting onto the ladder, you'll find that your deck maybe is a little bit slower than some of the things that you're facing. And so I want to give you two versions of this deck that I feel like, you know, there's one where it's just the most basic that you could probably get for about 10 to 15 tradable packs online. If you go to the trade section here, you could probably trade for the first variant for like 10 or 15 packs. The second variant I want to give is like a boosted version of the deck that you can use if you have like the trainer toolkit, some cards from there, or the Pikachu and Zekrom battle theme deck, just to make your deck more consistent. These are two different versions of this deck. So I immediately look at the theme deck and I see that there's just a lot going on. In terms of the Pokemon, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Pokemon. Generally speaking, in deck building, you want to focus around 2, maybe 3 main attackers, and so we have somewhere like 4 main attackers and then 1 kind of setup Pokemon. So I look at the weakest link here being the Unfezant line. Let's take a look at Unfezant, a stage 2, so it's going to take you 2 turns to evolving, right? You have to play your P-Dove on the first turn and then you evolve twice. So we have Daunt here, 50, Air Slash 150. I'm not super excited about it, especially for that hefty attack cost and no way to accelerate energy to the Unfezant. Those immediately what stand out to me as just cards that we don't necessarily need. So let's just get rid of those altogether. Now all of a sudden we find ourselves with 52 slots in the deck. So what do we do with those slots? Well, one thing I would look to is adding more supporters. So we have Professor's Research, which is arguably the best supporter in the game. We're going to want to boost that. So all the way up to 4. And then this is again like assuming that you have some level of in-game purchasing power or trading power. So we have 2 Professor's Research. I don't want to add too many more things like that, but perhaps you have something like a Cynthia Caitlin that you can add in. We'll do a couple of those. Those are on the cheaper side of the draw supporters that we have. We have our 4 Hop. We'll just make do with that. And we have Sonia. Those again are fairly cheap, so let's boost that as well. With our final couple of slots that we made from cutting the Unfezant, let's go here with the Pokemon Catcher. Up that all the way to 4, because although there is a better option for this deck in the form of Boss's Orders, we're going to hold off on that for now for the boosted version of this deck, assuming you have more resources. So now we're looking at something like this. We can make a little bit more room, and I think we want to add some more Great Balls, and we'll talk a little bit about this Perrserker line as well. So where are we going to get that room? It's going to be the energy. We don't need that much energy. We're going to go down to 14 energy. That should be fine. We have a little bit of recycling power with the Metal Saucer. So let's boost our search potential with the Great Ball, and then also go over here and look at the Meowth line. So Meowth, there is an objectively better Meowth, okay? And that's right here on the front of the screen. So Galarian Meowth has an ability from the newest set. You can discard 2 cards from your hand, and once during your turn, you may search for your deck for a Galarian Perrserker, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So, like, just way better than the other Meowth. Let's go ahead and put that at a 3 count. We'll keep this Perrserker because it's decent. It's a fine, you know, secondary attacker with the flip coins. You can do up to, what is it, 240, right? So, like, it's on a flip. It's not great, but it is, you know, again, if we're working with limited resources. So then let's go to the Galarian Perrserker that has the ability. Now, this Galarian Perrserker I like in this style of deck because this is just a metal deck, so you might as well boost your metal damage. So we have Steely Spirit here. Your metal Pokemon do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So that's really good. You can hit, you know, 140, 160 with your Smashing Edge attack and just doing more damage. If you can do 160 with your Zacian, you can start to 2-shot these VMAXs, which is very important. So we'll add a couple of those. Now, it might look a little bit weird that we have a 3-4 line, so there are 4 evolutions as opposed to just having 3 Meowths, and you can play with that if you want. You know, it's not really a huge point there. This is just making the deck a little bit better than what you would normally get. But with the 3 Meowth and the 4 Perrserker, you're going to be using the Perrserker in different ways probably throughout the game. So you don't really need to have 4 Meowth because you're probably not going to get all 4 Perrserker out in a game anyway. This isn't your main attacker, but since there are 2 that come with the deck, I'm going to try to focus the deck around that a little bit more. So let's look at this deck list. I'll put this in the description if you want to play around with this. But what we basically did was we looked for ways to boost the supporter count, and we looked for ways to maximize our Pokemon to just be a little bit more efficient. We also took out some energy, added some more Gust, added some more Great Ball, and went about that way. So let's save that up. Now let's look at what we can do with this deck if we were to have like the Pikachu and Zekrom kit, right? That comes with a very, very nice playset of Jirachi, which is one of the best cards right now in the game. And we want to make sure that we have Jirachi because it has the Stellar Wish ability. Y'all know you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal a trainer, and put it in your hand. So it's immediately going to boost the viability of this deck in terms of what we can do with our search potential and things like that. We'll also take out the Hawlucha. We kept them in the other version of the deck because, you know, Windfall is fine, like if you don't have a ton of supporters, but this is assuming that you have a little bit more access to resources, and so you probably won't need to use Hawlucha to shuffle your hand and draw 5. So let's take those out. And then we'll keep the Perrserker line in for now, but again, changing out the Meowths to be these nice little boys. And then we'll also, again, add our Perrserker here with the Steely Spirit. Cool. Got that. And then we will also add, this is again, assuming that you have these cards, we'll add another Zacian, and we'll add a couple of Zacian Vs. Now the Zacian Vs, like, of course, you could make a deck entirely centered around this. This is assuming that you're a beginning player and that you just don't have access to that many cards, but Zacian V comes in a tin, which is very, very nice, and it'll help us a lot to maintain that early aggression. Can do 230 on, you know, for 3, which is pretty good ratio of energy to attacking power, and then it gives you that good consistency in the early game. So definitely a keeper here for us. The Probopass line is probably weak right now with everything else that we have in the deck, so let's take out those. And we're looking at this for the Pokemon. So we got 4 Jirachi, that's going to be just our setup. We got our 3 Zacians, our 2 Zacian Vs, and then our Perrserker line, which we have kept. So moving into the trainers, and I'll also cut energy again. 18 energy, they usually give you just a ton of energy to play these decks with. So you'll always want to, if you're taking your deck from your theme deck to the ladder, you're always going to want to cut energy. It usually ends up somewhere between like 18 and 25 energy, which is just way, way, way too much. And especially in a deck like this that has access to Metal Saucer, you don't need 18 energy. So 13 is going to work just fine for us. We will do something a little bit similar here in that we will go here with the Professor's Research and boost that all the way to 4. I'm going to assume that you have the access to Marnie, and we'll include a couple of those in the deck as well. Hop and Dan are probably your weakest supporters, so we'll get rid of those. And actually, I'm going to make the Marnie count as high as it'll go. So 4 of those. Poké Kid, kind of terrible. So we'll swap those out for some Sonia. And then we will cut our quick ball, or excuse me, our great ball for quick balls. Now, a couple of other really cool things that Metal has access to is Metal Saucer, or Metal Goggles. Include a couple of those in there. We also have access to Mount Coronet as a Metal deck. We'll include a couple of those in there as well. We also like Boss's Orders. You can do 2 of. That's totally fine. And we want some way to switch our Jirachis. We have 2 switch. We'll boost that up to 4 and also include an Escape Board. So Escape Board combos really nicely with Jirachi and makes things a lot smoother in that early and mid game. So this is the deck. This is kind of boosted with a few more resources. Still keeping in mind that we want to preserve the characteristics of the theme deck, in the sense that, you know, if we were playing this like competitively at a real tournament, maybe we would take away these Zacians and maybe focus the deck more on this Zacian. But for the time being, this is kind of retaining that core concept of the theme deck while also souping it up and making it as good as we possibly can. Now, there are other things that you can do with this. For instance, you could take away, I don't know, a supporter or something, take away a Sonia and maybe add a Dedenne for a little bit of increased consistency. Again, that would assume that you have these nice chunky Dedennes from the trainer toolkit. Something like that could also work. Again, this is just an outline, a suggestion of a way that you could take this deck. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. If you like this kind of analysis, please leave a comment down below for me. Or if you hated this, let me know that too. This is really going to be a guide for the newer players, but I think there are some kind of deck building tips that over the episodes that I produce of this series, I think will help you as well if you're more of a competitive player. Make sure to like, subscribe to this channel, and I will catch you on the next video. It could be right here. There are some videos on the screen. Why don't you check those out? Thank you guys for watching again, and have a great rest of your day.